Coming up in today's episode, we review Dell Zeno HD. What does 3D ready really mean? Streaming media to PS3, we got a better way, and of course the Blu-ray releases for the week of March 30th, 2010. This is HD Nation.
HD Nation.
Today's episode is brought to you by GameFly, Netflix, and GoDaddy.com.
Welcome to HD Nation. I'm Robert Herron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. HD Nation is your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. Blu-ray, online, satellite, cable, over the air, even HD DVD. If it's in HD, we love it. Oh my goodness. So, crazy thing happened.
You guys were traveling recently too.
We just got back. Yeah, I'm just now, like, if I'm deaf today, there was a plane flight, sickness, Las Vegas, CTIA, the wireless show. Roger, Graham, and I. Graham's one of the editors who works here. Roger, the producer, just got back from CTIA Las Vegas. It's basically wireless, anything wireless. Nice. Cell phones, crazy microchip manufacturers. One of the most bizarre things we've seen yet, or exciting, depending on how you look at it, cell phone trends is HDMI ports on cell phones.
Cool.
HTC's doing a couple phones, HTC Evo, and the Galaxy S from Samsung is doing wireless output for HDTVs that support
I think about every camera I bought recently, older cameras at least, they all had those composite jack cables that would come out if you had to do a quick and dirty presentation on your TV. Why not have an HDMI port? All the new TVs have HDMI ports, usually one on the side, real easy, and one cable. And if you had audio, don't have to run a separate cable for it. So
well, yeah, the new top-of-the-line phones are a lot more powerful. Like, you know, the Sprint HTC Evo 4G, which doesn't have a data cap when it's in 4G areas, so you can actually download more than 3 HD movies before, or HD-like movies before you blow the cap. But it was running like a 1 gigahertz processor and was playing some absolutely gorgeous trailers in the demo. That's going to come out later this year, but it's kind of an interesting idea that not only is this cell phone, you know, it's a cell phone, it's got 4G, it's a 4G wireless router for up to 8 clients, and oh yeah, it's got an HDMI video port, so you can play back the HD recorded video on it or HD movies that you've sideloaded onto it.
That could be a nice little mini home media server slash phone distribution network slash data center. I don't know. Crazy talk.
Crazy talk.
Crazy.
Anyway,
crazy talk. In other news, Hillcrest Labs launched Kylo. It's a TV-friendly browser. And of course, Hulu blocked them immediately.
It's pretty weird, right? So it's essentially a variation on Mozilla, right? And they basically they're the people that do the loop, the hoop, you know, for kids.
Oh, the Hillcrest Labs loop controller.
So, they're like, it's a 10-foot browser, it's a lean-back environment, it's a living room, a lean-back environment browser, and yeah, Hulu blocks them immediately. Like, literally, like, the day the press release went out, Hulu blocks them from playing Hulu, and the rumor has it, the inside skinny is that Hulu, like, some of the people that are operating Hulu don't really agree with the people who own Hulu. The people who own Hulu don't want Hulu to be used except on it. It's only for PCs. It's only in a lean-forward environment. So anything that makes it easier to use in a living room, they try to block.
Except for their own software, like Hulu Desktop.
Yeah, but the idea is that Hulu Desktop couldn't possibly be used in a living room. You know, unlike Boxy or you know, Kylo
I wonder now if somebody had a set-top box like this product, and you say Internet Explorer, and I know that these browsers can be identified internally. That you can basically, there's a name coded into the browser that says I am this type of browser. Right. What if they just change that name to one of the quote-unquote standards
That has been done in the past. Boxy was playing games like that. It's just, look, we love Hulu, but we want Hulu's owners or Hulu's management, whoever can make the decision, just accept that folks are going to watch streaming content in the living room on their HDTVs.
Make it a Yahoo widget, man. Get it in those new TVs.
A Hulu widget.
Come on.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of battles and lawsuits, Dish is now suing DirecTV over the claims of who has more HD content. Dish claims DirecTV ads are misleading consumers into believing that it offers 200 HD channels. DirecTV ads claim that they have a 200 HD channel capacity, but in reality they don't offer 200 HD channels. This lawsuit follows one launched by DirecTV against Dish for false advertising in their Why Pay More ads, claiming that, well, the ads made it appear DirecTV charged more than Dish. It's
amusing.
Yeah.
I find it funny as can be because all three now, the cable operators, at least out here on the West Coast, we have Comcast, DirecTV, and Dish. They each have commercials, separate commercials that brag about how much HD content they're delivering.
We have the most HD.
And it's all spun specifically just to highlight whatever the pluses are for any of those individual providers. But, you know, it's all ridiculous.
They often count things like pay-per-view channels.
Oh, totally. or yeah, that and
stuff that's only available in certain add-on tiers if you pay additional monies.
And every show that they currently have just sitting on their servers that they'll stream to you through, like, what do they call it? Like, not pay-per-view, but the other one. On demand. Thank you. The voice in my head says on demand.
We need to get a Dish. I'll drag my DirecTV over to your house, and we'll do like a Dish versus DirecTV versus Comcast. At least Comcast in San Leandro.
I would think that the satellite guys have the most HD channels, like channels as in broadcast channels, not counting your pay-per-view and your on-demand services. However, you know how you add that up. Look at the fine print on any of these ads. It'll make you grin. Anyway. Before you have a mental meltdown.
And that should only get weirder as Comcast brands all of their broadband stuff as Xfinity while they're acquiring NBC and smushing everything together into one giant.
I'm part of the Xfinity family now. New news! Bravia has their NX series TVs. They are now shipping. This features the monolithic design, kind of an interesting thing. It's actually tilted back about 6 degrees, so it kind of points up a little bit. So if you're mounting the TV low, or you have it sitting on your coffee table, it's going to be at a more friendly angle to your eyes. It's an edge-lit LED technology. It's the Bravia Engine 3. That's their latest video processor tech. 240 hertz. That's true 240 hertz motion flow technology, they call it. Integrated internet video with your widgets. Wi-Fi, USB. Ooh, neat. And of course, it's got light sensors and energy-saving switches, and it's going to be available in 46, 52, and 60-inch models.
I think rumor has it we actually have one that just arrived for testing.
I think I saw it was a 46-inch.
Yeah.
40. Ooh, just the widgets and their new models. Sony makes good TVs, no doubt.
So one of our viewers actually pointed out that he'd asked if Sony and Vizio were the same company last week, and we said no because they're not. But he was like, but you guys said, well, what we said is they did a patent technology swap. They were basically doing dueling lawyers over certain technologies that both companies use. They did a patent technology swap, which basically means you can use our patents, they can use their patents, and nobody will sue each other because our lawyers have better things to do. So I just want to get that out of there real quick. One last thing, Dell's Inspiron Mini 10 will soon be shipping with optional Broadcom Crystal HD media accelerators and built-in HDTV tuners, or optional built-in HDTV tuners and Broadcom acceleration, so you can actually play HD video over the HDMI port that's been on Dell's Mini 10s.
Okay.
Just saying, because I own 2 Dell Minis, and the HDMI ports are not so useful to play HD video.
Really? Oh.
Well, because it's a little Atom processor with no graphics acceleration.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yes.
Got to have graphics acceleration.
It does fine as a desktop, just as long as you don't play video on it, HD video on it.
On the lighter side of things, Russian cows are to get HDTV.
At least in one farm.
Aw. Hey, I found out, there's another animal story related to HDTVs too.
No.
I'll tell you about later. Anyway, according to the EnglishRussia.com website, one Russian farmer read somewhere that cows are more productive when they watch movies with green fields.
Aww.
So he got a non-stop loop of some Swiss Alpine fields and the slimmest LCD TVs on the Russian market and had them installed.
Cows?
Cows, indeed. You know what? It would have been nice if he would put up a projection system. He wouldn't have to have as many of those TVs, and maybe a nice surround sound system. Maybe like, I don't know, what do cows like to listen to? I'm not really sure.
Apparently in the Swiss
Beethoven?
Alps. I would guess yodeling in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah. There was another animal story though this week in the news. It was reported that
more animals with HDTVs.
When they did a study with, I believe it was octopuses, and squids. Anyway.
Squeeds.
Something about their eyes and how CRT TVs, scanline TVs used to work. They didn't really, they would look at the image and go, I don't know what that is, but it's not real. But when they dropped an HD TV, recently I guess they did the study, they dropped an HD TV in front of the creature, and it was like, oh, I see what you're referring to now. And maybe
that looks real.
The clarity or the window-like nature of the video, it seemed to enchant them. So
there's some kid right now playing this video for his mom or dad going, even Squid can see the differences, Mom. We gotta get an HDTV. Dad, come on. The cows have an HDTV.
Upgrade your farm.
Oh, I'm not even going there. Death, Broken Hearts, your favorite band, taking a little time off. There are bigger disappointments than getting home with a new video game and finding out you spent $60 on a DVD that, well, sucks. I can't help you with death or taxes. My dating history is a nightmare. But our sponsor, GameFly, the largest online video game rental service, they can help you avoid buying a crappy game. We're talking about thousands of new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds, right at your fingertips for $15.95 a month. You can rent 1 to 4 games at a time, keep them for as long as you like, take forever to finish that game. Because GameFly has no late fees, no due dates, and by the way, the shipping, always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back. GameFly is going to send you the next available game on your list, and you can even buy a game if you like it at a discount. HD Nation fans get a 2-week free trial, but only if they sign up at gamefly.com/HDNation. Some restrictions do apply. See the site for details, and please keep HD Nation coming by trying out our sponsors like GameFly. Mr. Aaron, I understand that you've uncovered the secret. The secret for streaming media to your PS3. What do you mean secret?
It's no secret.
What?
It's pretty easy. Well, if you have a Windows computer, the PS3 will see it, and then you can basically connect them and stream that way. But if you have just say like,
secret.
I received a question though from a viewer who wanted to know that, hey, what's the best format to encode videos for the PlayStation 3 playback? And he apparently had a hard drive full of video files and things like that. And I was like, well, you could re-encode stuff specifically for the PS3 if it wasn't compatible already with the PS3, which that list of software, or the list of file types that is compatible with the PS3 is pretty extensive, so there might be something there. But there's an easy way to then basically transcode these files on the fly from your computer to the PS3 and have it play just like fine. And it's a piece of software called the PS3 Media Server. And if you do a search online for PS3 Media Server, you should be able to find it quite easily. It's available for OS X, Linux, and Windows.
Is it free or is it paid software?
It is completely free. It was actually originally posted. I saw this originally on the Google Code page, and this person has a Blogspot page too that they're talking about their software. But let me flip over to the PlayStation 3 real quick, or let Pat do that. HDMI port number 3. Now, essentially, once you have it running, and the software couldn't be easier to set up. You literally just load it up on your computer, point it to the folders that you want it to, here, let me grab a controller. Point it to the folders that you want it to actually access. And this could be on a network, this could be local on the computer. Essentially, you gotta have this software running on your computer. The files you want have to be accessible from that computer. But beyond that, it'll stream those files right to the PS3. And in this case, I have it running off my notebook, and a few files I loaded up, and let me just turn on the controller, of course, because it's not on. And we're going. So then I set up 3 folders, one for music, videos, and pictures. Simple enough. You could also add other streaming types like online sources and other things as well. You can get into the instructions for that, but just quick and dirty media streaming. In this case,
to search for the media servers every time you turn it on, does it?
No, it should be out. Once this is set up and you got it going, boom, here it is. PS3 Media Server, Vio Fidelity is the name of my notebook, and it gives me that little logo. That's the logo of the software. Simple enough. I can just hit that. Got a video folder with some videos in it. These are some WMV files. I think the PS3 is compatible actually with WMV, but just for legality and everything else, here we go. Just some of, these are 1080p encodes too, so something we discovered while we were doing the setup on this is that for high bitrate video, like a 1080p video file that's at, I think it's about 15 megabit, you want to use, we didn't have luck with wireless. We had to do this hardwired, and it worked pretty well. With wireless
our wireless network is problematic here in the studio.
Now, at home, I had no problem at all, and it was pretty cool. But you can see right there, we're getting video streaming from my computer being transcoded, quote unquote, into a format that's compatible with the PS3. I can pause it. I can do a rewind. All the standard controls you have for the PlayStation 3 are right there. And it's just pulling that content right off the computer.
How's it compare in quality to the original format?
It depends. It will do some transcoding if need be to deal with the bitrate that you have available. So there is that. But otherwise, it should be identical quality. Now, one of the nice things is that if you have a collection of, say, DVDs that you've backed up, it's compatible with not only the TS folder structure as well as ISO files. And I tried it with some ISO DVD rips that I have of my own collection. It was just flawless. It just works. So that's probably one of the big things for this. It's also compatible with a lot of different music file types, everything from OGG formats, open source formats that might not be directly compatible with the PS3. Run it through this software, and it will just occur. And the beauty of this is really that you're not really doing anything to the file itself. You're just taking that file, letting some software on the computer do that encode, recode, transcoding they call it, and then just stream that right to the PlayStation 3.
Cool. So you basically don't have to re-encode everything.
No. In fact, I tend to want to avoid that because you never know. Something might change in the future, and you got to have yet another file format. So a transcoding piece of software like this is really handy for that. And it's free. and it works pretty well. Let me get back out of this. That wasn't a very long.
I know we're going to get a dog pile of emails from people saying, but this also does that, and this also does that, and this also does that.
And I will say also that the software is compatible with zip files and RAR compressed. So basically, if you have zip files full of a certain file type, like pictures or something, you can then browse through those using this software, which is great. There's also basic Xbox 360 support, and you can custom configure this to stream to any DLNA compliant TV, like the latest from Sony and Samsung and others.
Cool.
They do provide a template, though. That's where if you're more in the, you don't mind looking at a template page where you have to go through and say, what formats does the TV support and create, if it's not already built in, which, speaking of which, there is a recent update on the author's website that indicated an upcoming update for this will not only improve browsing speed, but also file format detection. And that was posted just a couple days ago, so I think it's going to be a really nice update to take a look at once it ships.
Where can the lovely audience download this again?
Oh, just check out, it's got a kind of a convoluted URL if you go to the Google code page. I think it's ps3server.blogspot.com. Otherwise, just do a search for PS3 Media Server. It'll be the top link.
Ladies and gentlemen, time for the new Blu-ray releases for the week of March 30th, 2010.
First up, An Education. This film was nominated for an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Actress, and won 2 awards at Sundance. It was based on an autobiography by an English journalist and tells the story of a young woman in the 1960s who meets an older man, played by Peter Skarsgård. He introduces her to all the culture that England has to offer, and well, you can probably guess where it goes from there. Alfred Molina even makes an appearance, and the disc includes some cool extras like deleted scenes, a making of, and a featurette entitled Walking the Red Carpet. Next up, a mere 3 months after its wide theatrical release, Sherlock Holmes, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. It's the latest in the multitude of adaptations of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous series, this time directed by Guy Ritchie of Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels fame. This is a limited release and includes the DVD and digital copy as well. Some extras include director walk-ons, an hour of picture-in-picture, and storyboard comparisons. And if that's not enough Downey-style Holmes for you, you can look forward to a sequel sometime next year. Next, we have Under the Sea in IMAX. Shot 3D, but unfortunately only released in 2D, this documentary is narrated by a mostly serious Jim Carrey and provides a fascinating look at sea life in the South Pacific. From the Great Barrier Reef to Papua New Guinea, it's only 45 minutes, but this flick provides some incredible cinematography that's a must-see for any nature buff. Other releases this week include Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, The Bader-Meinhof Complex, Collateral, Housebroken, I Sell the Dead, 1989's The Killer, 1974's Vampires, that's with a Y, and Nova's What Darwin Never Knew. Let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Netflix. My recent sci-fi binge concludes this week with the 2004 movie Code 46. There's something about dark mind-bending movies that appeals to me, and it stars Tim Robbins. With more than 12 million members, Netflix is the world's largest subscription service, streaming movies and TV episodes over the internet and sending DVDs by mail. For $8.99 a month, Netflix members can instantly watch unlimited TV episodes and movies streamed to their TVs and computers, and can receive unlimited DVDs delivered quickly to their homes. With Netflix, there are never any due dates or late fees. Members can select from a growing library of titles that can be watched instantly, and a vast array of titles on DVD. Among the large and expanding base of devices that can stream movies and TV episodes from Netflix right to the members' TVs are Microsoft's Xbox 360 and Sony's PlayStation 3 game consoles, and, this spring, Nintendo's Wii console. Find movies you love easily. You can browse, search, or see Netflix recommendations for you. They even have a special back-of-the-box feature that lets you get the details of any movie instantly. As a Netflix Unlimited member, you get Blu-ray movies by mail in about 1 business day. Shipping is free, and there are no due dates or late fees. Blu-ray plans start at just $5.99 a month. As a new member and HD Nation viewer, you can get a free trial membership. Go to www.netflix.com/HDNation and sign up now. Be sure to use this URL so that they'll know we sent you.
In the wake of Robert's DIY home theater PC build, the one he built on the Intel Atom NVIDIA Ion CPU graphics combo, low power, quiet, we get a lot of requests for a review of Dell Zeno. It's a $249 8x8-inch compact PC powered by AMD Athlon X2, or at the very top of the line, AMD's Neo X2 CPUs. This is the box itself.
Hey.
Don't ask me about the lid yet.
Compact.
Tell them about the processor.
Shall I tell them what the test unit we have came with?
Absolutely.
Apparently, it's an X2 3250E processor. It's a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core, low-power processor, always nice, with 1 megabyte of cache. Think of it basically as something faster than the Atom that I built, but slower than, say, a high-end Intel dual-core. And it added $65 to the base price. Now, the AMD Neo X2 6850E is the fastest option available. It adds $110 to the base price and a fair amount of oomph for things like video transcoding or basic gaming, even.
Yeah, the Zino comes in black for free. Caps with colors or patterns run 15 or 30 bucks. There are lots and lots of pretty shiny user upgradable lids.
Nice. So I take it they give you plenty of options if you're into just getting all stylish with different colors.
You want to match the drapes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got lots of shiny candy-like colors. 2 gigabytes of RAM. Windows 7 Home Premium is standard at that $249 level. Our box came with 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's a $79 upgrade. I think you can get away with 2 gigabytes for home theater PC. Ethernet only is a standard. An 802.11b or G card is a $25 upgrade. A BGN card runs $45. You notice as you start adding things start getting more expensive, right?
It's true. I'm all about Ethernet, though, for any kind of 1080p video.
Right.
I haven't yet to see any wireless really do high-density video really well yet, so.
This is true.
Ethernet rules.
ATI's Radeon HD 3200 graphics are standard, should handle HD video playback just fine, like for Blu-rays. Our box had the optional Radeon HD 4330. That adds $75 to the price and should handle games more gracefully. Quick tip, make sure you download the latest drivers direct from ATI's website. Our testbed had some dated drivers, and upgrading them kind of helped things along a little bit. Also, ATI, we need to talk about where you put the overscan control in your drivers. That's just a nightmare. We'll talk about that more.
The pain.
Later, but yeah, they are buried. And to finish off, the config options, which are incredible, right? You can easily quadruple the base price of the system, I think, especially if you buy a monitor.
What kind of stuff, though? Oh,
XFi audio, like audio upgrades. There's an optional Hauppauge Win TV recorder, the usual array of service plans, hard drives. This test bed has a 500 gigabyte hard drive. That's a $65 upgrade. The max is a 1 terabyte drive, and there's an optional Blu-ray drive. Ours is a DVD drive. It's $100 to upgrade to a Blu-ray drive.
That's a good price for a Blu-ray internal slim drive, at least.
Yeah.
I paid about $160 or $70 for the one I put in my home theater PC, which I'm finding I hardly use the darn drive. Never mind.
And that may be legit. If you're not streaming, or excuse me, if you're not playing Blu-rays, you don't need to upgrade to that drive.
Totally.
Well, I should put it, this unit with the optional Blu-ray the optional Bluetooth dongle, keyboard, and mouse was, I think, $608. Our model didn't have, again, that optional $100 Blu-ray drive that reads and writes DVDs. I'm pretty sure the cheapest Blu-ray configuration comes in at $597 or $529 with the $68 discount that was around when we were on Dell's site. There's a pretty amazing or ridiculous array of options. Again, the base version that has the stripped-down processor and the base processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM and Windows 7 is $249.
It's a good entry price. Okay, but enough of the specs. How was it usability-wise?
Okay, getting your home theater PC on with the onboard HDMI port was pretty easy once I sorted out, or actually I should say Roger actually helped us find the secret hidden scaling, overscan scaling control.
ATI's overscan controls are buried.
We need to talk about that, ATI. I'd really like to see a Windows Media Center remote option. On all of the options I could find for this thing, that was the one thing that wasn't in there. I used the keyboard to control it for my testing and played around with some remote controllers that we had around Windows Media Center remotes. Once the graphics drivers are updated, really solid. Blu-ray playback with Total Media Theater, flawless. I used an external Blu-ray drive for that. Looked absolutely gorgeous. 720p QuickTime trailers, no problem. At least once they completed downloading, because downloading actually uses a huge percentage of the CPU. Like, you laugh, but you start to realize exactly how much processing power this takes. 1080p QuickTime stuttered some. QuickTime and HD Flash can be kind of hard on a low-power PC. I was impressed, but again, one of the things is if you want some more powerful options on this, you are going to spend more money. All right, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. If you don't want to build your own home theater PC, it's definitely an option that should be on your list. I'm going to do some more playing around with audio output on this as we get an updated receiver in here, because I'm between receivers.
I noticed when you loaded up Windows Media Center, though, boom, it popped up pretty quick. So this, to me, just subjectively feels a little bit quicker than my Atom setup.
I would say it's the CPU is definitely faster than the Atom setup, and it has a discrete desktop graphics chip.
Can we overclock it? Overclock my Atom.
We'll play around with that later on. We got to thank one of our sponsors, GoDaddy.com. People, I've been buying domains at GoDaddy.com for years because they're cheap. They want to remind you that, well, if you want to hide your personal information, you got a domain, somebody goes, who is, all of a sudden, your phone number, your email address, your home address, anything you put on that information for your website's available to your crazy ex-roommate, that psycho hacker that doesn't like your political point of view. If you do something like private domain registration that GoDaddy.com offers, they would keep your information out of the public databases so people can't find you. Now, I know you want to score a discount so you can spend more money on your home theater PC. Try the code HDN12. You get $10 off any order of $40 or more. It doesn't sound like a good deal to you? Check out revision3.com/GoDaddy. You're going to find a big old pile of HD Nation GoDaddy deals and codes. Please support our sponsors, and when you go to GoDaddy, use one of those codes because that lets them know we sent you. Got a question here for Mr. Robert. Joe wrote in asking, I hear some HDTVs are now 3D ready. This reminds me too much of HD ready. Oh, what a pile of suck that was. When HDTVs first came out, I bought a very expensive HD ready 26-inch Toshiba. I look back and I really regret not waiting and buying a TV with a built-in HD tuner. Is there such a thing as TVs with 3D tuners built in, or is 3D ready all we will ever need to watch any 3D source, including cable and/or satellite? Joe, what a wonderful question.
Indeed. Timely.
Timely, because they're selling 3D HDTVs now and 3D Blu-ray players in bundles, even though there's no content.
Very little.
Okay.
Make it real simple. There are only two companies, two, that make 3D televisions that you can buy right now in stores, and that's Panasonic and Samsung. Sony will have their 3D TV out soon, and all the other manufacturers, well, pretty much, they don't have a strict timeline yet. I'm thinking late fall before they'll ship. Basically, they got to play catch up. Now, Mitsubishi rear projection TVs have been touted as being 3D capable for a long time now. However, they are not compatible with the upcoming 3D Blu-ray players. Or, like you were talking about TV, are we going to have a 3D tuner? No, there is no standard for that that's been set. The people who have said they are going to do 3D broadcast, I believe it's going to be ESPN, I want to say, and one other, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but that was being basically promoted through the upcoming upgrade for DirecTV.
So wait a minute. So the Mitsubishi HD ready, anybody who bought one of the rear projection TVs, they're out of luck.
They are, at least at CES, they showed off a converter box that will sit between a Blu-ray player, a 3D Blu-ray player, and the TV, and to be able to convert that signal into something that is compatible with the 3D ready.
To everybody who...
I think it'd be free. Nothing's free. Well...
So there's a possibility that Mitsubishi rear projection HDTV owners might, the 3D ready ones, actually be able to do it with the converter box.
With the converter box. And apparently they also have some upcoming LCD panels, too, that will support it as 3D technology going forward. But
got it.
Yep. But for all those people, too, that write in asking about the Samsung 3D DLP TVs from back in the day, I've heard no word on that of those being compatible with the current Blu-ray-based 3D playback or what you're going to get from your set-top box via DirecTV, or I'm sure the cable companies are going to jump on 3D as well eventually, but I haven't read anything about that yet.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Riyadh.
Oh, and finally, we come across this really good question from Riyadh in Phoenix, Arizona. He asks, if a 60 hertz picture is considered flicker-free, why are the new 3D LCD televisions 240 hertz models when I suppose anything 120 hertz or faster should be 3D ready? Signed, Riyadh from Phoenix.
That's the motion smooth movies in a way that I hate, even twice as fast for 3D.
That's one way to do it. You know, increasing how often the screen is updated. That's that 120 hertz, now 240 hertz technology. Instead of doing it double speed, now it's quadruple speed for 240 hertz. And the short answer is it can be used, of course, to generate those interpolated frames that produce that awful smoothing look for film. But for your standard video content, like they shoot sports in and whatnot, it can really help improve the clarity of the picture. And I think it's worth it to do it, but you got to be realized if you're watching movies, you got to turn that off. But back to the question, the short answer is that those 120 hertz LCDs are not fast enough to produce a flicker-free 3D image. Now, the liquid crystal shutter glasses that you'll be wearing to watch one of these new quote-unquote 240 hertz 3D TVs, LCD televisions, they're providing basically a 60 hertz view in each eye, and that is essentially being broken down into, think of it as like
on, off, twice.
In 1/60th of a second, you have 4 2/40ths of a second. So if we break it down into 2/40ths of a second, for that first 2/40th of a second,
say left frame off, right frame off, left frame off, right frame off.
Pretty close. Pretty darn spot on, actually. Correct. For that first 2/40th of a second, for say your left eye gate's open, that eye is now unshuttered. For that first 2/40th, you'll see the full picture displayed. Right. Boom. And then they'll flash, and the second 2/40th is a black frame, which helps minimize smearing and other distortions that could be caused. And then that eye will shutter shut. The other eye will then gate open. And then for the next 1 2/40th of a second, the other eye is being displayed. One flash as the picture, and then the next 1 2/40th of a second is the black frame, and then that closes. So in that 60th of a second, quite a bit just happened. But you can think of the glasses.
Wow, so essentially, it's four. It's
the glasses are operating technically at 120 hertz, but
so it's 4 frames every 60th. The 4 frames every 60th of a second.
That's what the TV's doing at the quote. That's why you need 240 hertz, because you need to do that black frame insertion to really help minimize, like we were talking about, blurring into other distortions that can be caused. And but does it
on off 60th of a second, on off
because you still need to give 1080p 60 to each eye. So if you break that up, that's essentially how it
240 hertz.
Now when we go back to when you look at plasma technology, they don't need to do that black frame insertion because the pixel speed is so great on this latest Panasonic model, the VT25. That's their 3D technology. It's essentially operating like a 120 hertz display, but like I mentioned, because of the pixel speed, you don't need that black frame insertion. So you don't need to do this, flash the frame, flash black, flash the frame, flash black. You can just say flash the frame, gate the eye, flash the frame, gate the eye.
So are plasmas inherently going to be better at 3D because they're so fast? Or
purely subjectively, my eyes tell me they are better. They produce a more natural. I think it's easier to look at.
This goes back to like the early days of HDTVs where plasmas looked better with action. Plasmas, you could definitely see like with a lot of motion, whether it was something like a football or a soccer game or a gunfight in a movie, an action sequence, a car chase. The plasmas had a bit of an edge over the LCDs.
Definitely. Although there are some edge cases where basically if you have a solid white line being swept across the screen on a plasma, you can get trailing colored edges and leading colored edges that were always found as annoying as can be. And one thing about this new Panasonic panel that I've seen is that it's been reformulated, the pixel technologies, to the point where it's so fast now, you're getting crystal clear edges on everything. And it's one of them, as a 2D display, I love it. And I can't wait to just get that in and put my eyes on it for a good long time to see how it works out. Anyway, but essentially, if you're buying 3D this year, you're a test case for everything that's going on. And you're quote unquote the early adopter, and be proud of that. Hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of HD Nation. As always, we want to know what you think, so send your comments, questions, or suggestions to hdnation@revision3.com.
And follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/HDNation. You can hang out with other viewers in the HD Nation forums at revision3.com/forum. And you can find links galore in the show notes. Those were basically every show down at the bottom of the webpage. Well, we have links and show the information and
you'll
videos
find
you can
all
send
of
to
the
your
links
friends.
to subscribe to the show. So if you're not getting the latest episode of HD Nation delivered to your podcatcher, what are you waiting for?
Do us a favor, subscribe, watch, tell your friends. Till next time.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Robert Heron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. We'll see you next week.
Right the TV up. Hopefully, screw things up, man. My teeth.
I just want the life to end.
I'm gonna eat bananas now for a month.